Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm going to look at the price of Bitcoin, XRP, and Theta, maybe a couple alts. We're going to figure out what's happening. Like I said, we got deep state events going all over the place, and we just had one today. But you know what? When we look at the price action, we can see it went exactly where we've been talking about, right back down to this cluster of support down in here. You can see all of these order blocks, all of these candles. We basically nailed it. So, we still got some wiggle room. I mean, heck, we can even come down to 58,000 and still be considered okay, right? We're still okay. So as long as we don't have some massive capitulation, which could very well happen, right? I mean, again, we're in election year. You got deep state events. You got Iran. You got, the election coming up. And who knows what else they got up their sleeves. Like, could be a cyber attack or who knows what it could be, right? So anything to cause chaos and shift attention away from them is what their goal is. So it could very well lead to as they say, the shakeout before the breakout, the final shakeout, right? And we can see that going all the way back here to C19, right? We had a C19 style event. You can see we were flagging out here. We came up looking for a three-way pullback and then just dumped and came right back down to that order block, and then that's when it started. You kind of flushed everything out. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying if it did happen, it would be an incredible opportunity. While most people are saying no, it's got to go lower, go lower, lower, right? But when there's blood in the streets, when you have a mass capitulation, I mean, that's usually when the volume spike occurs, and that's usually when it marks the low. For example, you had one back over here, right? You had a pretty nasty fall, but that was basically the low, and we came up, and ever since then we made a higher low and even a higher high. So we'll see, we'll see what we make of it here when we take the retracement from this whole wave. You can see we're right in the golden zone between the 50 and the 618. So we're smack dab in the middle of the retracement level. So that's really the most difficult place to be in, to sort of gauge of where it's going. Now, my thoughts have always been that this is a fourth wave and we should break out into a fifth wave, right? So we have a 1, 2, there's your wave 2, 3, there's your wave 4. You could say wave 2 and wave 4, right, is in the same degree, which means once this is finished, we should see a wave 5. Now, if we don't get a wave 5 and we just start breaking all the lows and continuing to go down, then what am I going to say? Okay, well, this could be, at that point, we would have, and before I say that, I'm going to jump into the small time frames in just a minute, but again, if we start breaking this zone, then we basically have one more chance, which is this W, and then we have an X, and then what we have here is basically a complex Y. So it's a three-wave move. So A, B, C, right, which would finish up wave Y. So we have a W, we have an X, and a Y. So 3, 3, 3, then go. That's what I will say. I don't see a lot of people talking about that idea. It's still very much valid. If we break this high, then I would take that off the table. But since we didn't, we have to respect that this could be the case. In which case, you know, we would come back down and we would probably back test that, let's see, that 47, 40, between 44 and 47K. I know that sounds insane. Like, we're at 60K. What are you talking about? Well, yeah, I know. But Iran doing crazy stuff. You mean it could be the catalyst? It could be the excuse as to why they want to bring the market down, right? So market makers, um, obviously, their whole job is to draw in liquidity, but sort of the narrative that goes along with it offers the excuse to retail as to why it did that. When in reality, it's just the excuse, it's just the catalyst to sort of push it in that direction, to say, oh, see, it was Iran that did it. Really? They sold all their Bitcoin? Or, you know what I mean? So, but a lot of times people are hedging their bets, they're covering their losses from whatever else maybe they got hit in the stock market, you know what I mean? So this could be the shakeout before the breakout. Now, I don't think that's the case, but it has to prove it to me. It has to prove it to me. And the first proof is breaking below 57, 58K, really below this area here. If we start breaking below that, then I'm going to start talking about it more, right? But if we stay above it, then we're doing pretty good. So once again, we could have a complex wave 4. And even if we came back down here, it would still be a wave 4. Why? Because we're finishing up wave Y, really. So W, X, Y. And then here's your Y wave. Here's your X wave. And here's your Y wave there. Right? Build a little bit of a base. Have a 5-wave impulse. A 3-wave pullback. And then continue higher. And that's kind of how I would like to see it if we did break down. So let's say that happens, but then we run into problems. Right? So then what I would say is, let's draw our little support box there. Let's say we had this ending wave here that came down, right? And then we came back up, right? Because I bet we will come back up and retest it as resistance, right? The goal obviously would be to break above it. Now, if we got rejected here, and then we start coming down and down, right? Then you say, okay, let's not break the low. If you break the low and then get rejected again, it's over. It's pretty much over. That means we're going into reaccumulation, and we're probably heading between 30 and 40K. Or, somewhere around that middle zone here. You can just see right here from the top of this right there. So anywhere in between that's where we would be looking to for a bottom or for reaccumulation, right? So obviously you would probably play around here, get some divergence, build a base, and then go up later on. And that would be our reaccumulation phase. And that could very well happen. So, as much as I feel like this is a 4th wave and we're going to get a 5th wave, I don't put it, if this was a regular sort of time, like if this was like 2019 or 2018 or even 2017 or even really like 2021, it would be kind of normal in a way. But we're not in normal times. You got a lot of turbulence circling around this election and whatever. So it makes it not only difficult to gauge, but it makes it more like uncertainty, right? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. FUD. That's what it is. Iran FUD. That's what it's all about. But we could get good news that that trumps the bad news, and so we just have to be cautious here. But if we had reaccumulation, it would basically be the same as what we had back over here, right? We had a rise, crash, retrace, went down into reaccumulation, we went sideways, and then we broke out. So that could very well be what we get again. Rise, crash, retrace, we come down, reaccumulation, we go sideways, then we break out. So let's jump into the smaller time frames and let's talk about a few possibilities. I mean, we're still at 62K basically, so we're doing okay. I mean, there's nothing to. The reason I'm talking about this is because in the very beginning of the video, Iran launched some missiles over there. So what do you think is going to happen? You think Israel is just going to take it? No, they're going to probably send more back, right? I mean, obviously they're going to protect themselves. I mean, we don't want anyone shooting any missiles off anywhere, right? Iran's always been the aggressor. So, and Israel's just there trying to defend itself. Now, I'm not saying they don't have their own problems, right? I mean, we just don't want people like Trump said. Do you want Russia to win, or do you want Ukraine to win? And then he's like, I don't care. Or he says, I don't want people dying. I just want it to end, right? When you go to war, both sides really lose. There's going to be a loss on both sides. So let's just not have to deal with that. So, anyways, what I really want to see from this wave, and I've always been skeptical about this wave because it doesn't look as nice as I would like it to. Now, there's a couple different ways you can interpret this wave. The first being, we have a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then we have a 4, and then we have a 5. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now this is coming down in an A. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, right? And then we get a three-way pullback, and then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, right? So that becomes an A, B, C. So this is your 1, this is your 2. You get back down in this area like I've been saying, right? We already kissed it a little bit. And then what? Build a little bit of a base, 5-wave move up, 3-wave pullback, go. Right? Flagging out. That's what I've been thinking for a while. Just wasn't sure exactly when it was going to end. But, got it pretty well. So that's sort of the main thing that I want to see, that I'm looking for. Now, the other way you can say is that this is just an ABC, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's A. You have a 3-way pullback. That's B. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's C. Uh-oh. If that's an ABC, right, if we flip it upside down, you can see the move, right? We have an impulse down and a 3-wave pullback, right? So that to me looks, pretty bearish, if you want to know the truth, because you can see, right, if this was an ABC, then that means this wave is probably finished, right? So what we have here, potentially, right, is a 1, 2, 1, right? We have a 3-way pullback, right? Go up into a B wave, and then come down for C. So impulse, 3-wave pullback, let's go. So when we flip that upside down, I mean, that's death. That's full-on death, capitulation right there. So don't think that can't happen, right? People say October, October, we're going up, 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 and but that's what they said with September. They said we're going down, but so just be cautious. The reason I don't really like this a lot is because of how corrective it went up. See how it came up? It doesn't seem bullish. Like this one was a little bit more bullish to me. It had a little bit more clear wave structure. This one, no, right? Because you kind of want to see a wave like this. This is a good example right here. You can see these clear pumps right here. Clear pumps, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's no question about it, right? Then you had an ABC running flat here. Kind of went sideways. That's very bullish. But what I'm looking at now just doesn't give me the warm and fuzzy feeling that I would like. But that doesn't mean that this is not a done deal, right? And we're going down, that's it. That just means we just got to continue to evaluate, because technical analysis is really just being kind of like a technician. You're kind of analyzing it in a way where it makes sense, right? So we have a lot of support here. We have all of the support here. You can see that. We have all the support in here. And then we have this support in here. Now, what I'll say is if we break that, then it really tells me, okay, this is a problem, right? And then we have one more little area here, which would be right in here. So between 57 and 61, right? If we go back below 55, man, it's going to be a little bit sketchy. So what are some of the things we can do, right? I'm going to put out a members video this week going over the things that I'm going to do. If you want to check that out, you can try it for a month, see if you like it, and if not, just a couple bucks won't hurt or break anybody. So I think the big thing is to watch this trend line here, right? Let's watch this trend line. Actually, sometimes what I like to do with trend lines is take a channel right there and then stretch it out a little bit and then go up with it, right? And you can kind of see where we are. And we just broken below that middle part of the channel, right? So that's one thing we got to take notice. But as long as if we come back down here, which I'm imagining that's what we're going to do. I don't think this dump is over with. I don't think this correction is over with. I think we are oversold on the 4-hour. That's good. I think we want to see some bullish divergence though. So do we have hidden bull? I'm sure we do. Let's look here for a moment. So if I take, well, let me just do this. Yeah, so we definitely have hidden bull. But that doesn't really mean much, right? So here's the low. Here's a higher low. The problem is it's not a higher low yet because it's not done, right? Until it actually goes the other way. But the RSI has a low and it has a lower low, right? That's hidden bull, different from regular bullish divergence, the one I'm more of a fan of. So obviously when we get down into oversold, we're going to get a bounce. And what I'm thinking here is if this is an A, we get a three-way B, and then we come down for C. I mean, that's what I want to see. I want to see a three-wave move like that. If we just come down like this, and then we have these little three-way moves back to the upside and keep coming down, that's where you know what it's doing, right? And that's kind of how we have to look at it. So another thing too is I want to see a little bit of bullish divergence coming in if we do get a low. So for example, you can see how the RSI is down here. If we have a three-wave move back up in a B wave, so A, B, right? This comes back up a little bit, and then we get C, but then as the RSI comes down, it actually makes a higher low. That's what we want to see, right? So there's your bullish divergence. Boom, right there. That's what we want to see. And then that would continue higher, right? So as far as the small time frames, let's look at the small time frames now. Like I said, this is either an ABC or a finished 5-wave move. I don't like the shape of the 5-wave move though. The most challenging technical analysis is in corrections because there's no trend, right? It's easy to identify a trend. It's easy to identify a correction, but it's kind of hard to figure out what that correction is doing because there's a lot of stuff going on. And you can use Elliott wave theory, you can use other things as well. So if I turn on the TD sequential, look at that. We had a 9 sell that perfectly called the top for the wave 5. You had a 9 sell that perfectly called the top of the wave 4, right? And let's keep going down. Look at this. You had a 9 buy that perfectly called the bottom of this 3-wave pullback, right? You also had a 9 sell that, you know, it could be looked at as a reversal or a pullback. In this case, it's a pullback, right? In this case, it's a pullback. But the more 9s you get, the more likely you are, okay, now this is a reversal, right? So let's look at the smaller time frames here. Let's go to the 20-minute. Let's take all of that off because it's not useful. And what do we see on the 20-minute here? Well, we basically took out all this liquidity like I was talking about the other day. You know, that's what they're targeting. They're targeting liquidity. So if you take this range up here, we broke it, we grab the liquidity up here. We take it down, now we're grabbing liquidity down here. So now the market's like, I don't know what's going on, right? And that's just the deal. So everybody who bought Bitcoin, everybody who got suckered into the hype and the, you know, everybody who bought Bitcoin after September 19th is now underwater, and if they didn't sell, right? That's why I've been saying, don't chase, wait, let it go. Don't worry about it. Just wait. Let the wave finish, let the wave correct, and then get in. That's how I see it, because you don't know, you know, so far I don't like the way it's going down. It's going down a little bit too impulsive for me, but that's understandable because of today's Iran event. I guess it's understandable, but so far we have a 1 2, okay, we have a 3 4 and 5, so we have a 5-wave move down. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, now let's zoom in and let's see if that 5th wave is done. I might have to zoom in a little bit more, and this is where it gets even more challenging and less probabilistic, is when you zoom in and you look at the sub-micro counts on the very small time frames. That's always challenging because it's, you know, it can, you know, but I do my best, and again, this is not financial advice, and don't even really looking at the 10-minute, 15-minute chart, but just for today's video, I mean, we could see sort of a 1 2 1 2, Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that fifth wave looks like it's done. So let's see, do we have bullish divergence? Yes, we have bullish divergence on the 15-minute chart. You can see how strong it is too. It's very strong. 1 second here. There we go. Now that doesn't mean, I mean, it's the 15-minute chart. Take it with a grain of salt, right? It's not like, oh my God, it's for sure. So you can see we're going down. This is going up. That's bullish divergence. And we had 5 waves, right? So that's another bonus on top. Another thing we can look at is if we take all that off the screen and let's go down to, let's say, the 5-minute chart. Okay, so I'm sure the 5-minute definitely has that bullish divergence, but now what I want to see is a 5-wave move, and it looks like we got one. We got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So if this is a wave 1 and maybe we get a wave 2, or maybe wave 2 is finished, then maybe we can go up, or this is going to be an ABC, right? So let's see if we can start making our way back up towards the retracement levels. Here's what I'll say. If we get back up to here and then we got rejected again, it could be more of a crashing structure. So for example, I would look at it if that was the case, right? And we came back up like this, if we get rejected, and then we can either make a higher low and go up from there, or we make another low. And that would be 1, 2, all of that would be 3, this would be 4, and this would be 5. And then start our retracement later on. But here's the thing, it's October 1st. I forgot to tell you guys, I mean, obviously, right? So the thing is when we start a new month, a lot of times you get a dump in the beginning of the month for whatever reason, margin calls, futures contracts. I mean, there's different reasons why, right? Obviously the monthly close has a lot to do with it. Because the big the big investors, they're not looking at the daily chart, they're looking at the monthly charts, right? So let's look at the monthly close, and now we're on a new month, and it's not going to look really that good. But what I'm saying here is the month ended nice, 63.5 almost, and this candle here is coming back down and retracing maybe 50% of it, right? You can see this long wick too. So a lot of times, you know how I talk about wicks, right? This candle, like I said the other day, we can have a wick that comes all the way down to around 56, 57K and retest 50% of those wicks. And that can happen within 2 weeks of October. And then the next 2 weeks of October, we can finish, maybe above 65, 68K, right? You see what I mean? So typically when the month ends, that's what happens. For example, you can even see it right here. Look at this. So the month ended here, right? And then it opened here. But where'd this wick come from? That means when the candle opened, right? This is November 1st, and what happened? Then we had to come all the way back down, right? We opened at 34.5, and then we had to come all the way back down to 34, right? So we had to drop about $400 or $500 before we can go higher, right? So you can see all of them, right? I mean, look at this candle here. We opened up, and you can see the wick. We had to come back down a little bit. I mean, look at this. I mean, they're everywhere. Every single month has a wick on the bottom of its body, It's very rare that that doesn't happen. So that's normal, right? Look at all of these wicks. They all have wicks on the bottom of their bodies, which means when the month closed, you can see the wick comes below into this. It sort of retraces that candle, or backtests that candle. You can see right here, we closed here and then we came all the way back down. So anyways, if you look at the current price action, right, you can see every single candle has a wick below its body, right? Which means what? Which means when the candle opened, it went down. So, right, for example, February 1st, the candle closed, and this candle opened on March 1st. Or I'm sorry, yeah, February 1st it opened, March 1st it closed, and then boom, you have a wick down. So you can already see, look at this. You can already see a wick on the bottom of its body, right? Now, typically, I mean, you want it to be green, of course. And the only way it's going to be green is if we go above this close here. So this candle, it probably, I mean, it could be closing red, right? It's very difficult to know on the monthly scale which color it's going to change, right? But that's basically it. I mean, we want to make sure, we got to check ourselves, right? Because when the month ends, which it just did, and we get a dump right after the monthly candle closes, that's normal. That's typical. That happens all the time. All the time. So, anyways. All right, let's go back to... by the way, I forgot to mention, we just had... This is probably the biggest thing ever in a long time. We just had a 3-month candle close. That's another thing too, right? We didn't have a 2-month candle, but we had a quarterly candle. That's a major deal, right? What is the quarterly candle? So we just had a 3-month candle close, right? So it was July, August, September, right? I think it's Q, or no. Never mind. That would be 4 months. No, yeah, that's 3 months. So, anyways, and we closed on this massive doji candle. Now, the thing I like about it is, where's the doji at? Is it on the bottom or is it on the top? It's on the bottom. That's good. That means the price came down on the previous quarter, and then it stopped. It wicked all the way down here. It came all the way back up, and it got bought back up, right? And it ended as a doji coming down from this candle here. So that's a good thing. The bad thing is it's not as hammerish as I would like. I would have liked to seen the body to be a little bit more thicker, to have more of that hammerish style. This candle just opened, right? So we have 3 months. This candle's going to last till the end of the year. So we don't know where this candle's going to last. But look, here's what I'll say. Look at the size of this wick. This is a monster wick right here. Look at that. That's huge. Which means what? Which means this candle can literally come all the way back down and retest 50% of this wick. And that brings you in about 54, 55K. I would say between 54 and 57K, just to be, So, that's a big deal, right? That's a big deal. And if that's the case, then obviously we retraced it, right? We would have that dump. Now, if we get bought back up, obviously it would be the WXY count, right? So So that was what, around 54K. Now, is there a scenario where we don't have to necessarily break the low and it could still be a WXY? Let me think about that for a second here. So if I put a trend-based fib from this low to this high to this low back up to the high, you can see the 786 and the 702 and the 618 is, you know, again, between 55 and 57. So that very well, you know, that might be where we're heading, is around that mid 55, or actually I would say more like 55, 57K area, as a retracement, right? Now, if we get this three-way move up and then back down, I'm gonna say, okay, if we get 5 waves down in here, once that 5th wave is done, then I'm gonna look at this as a completed ABC, right, with a continuation. But if this is a Y wave like that, does it have to break the low? Not necessarily, right? It could be a flat, right? It could be a flat. So boom, boom. I mean, it could even be a running flat down here. And proportional, it doesn't really look right, but yeah, I think that could be a Y. So all we want is 3 waves, right? Just how we got 3 waves here, just how we got 3 waves here. Now we're working on 3 waves here. Now the original idea, or the original perception of that 3rd wave is boom, boom, and then boom. So that there's your 3 right there, and it could have already finished. But usually it comes down like that, and it makes a little bit more of a identifiable 3-wave move, right? And now this, I'm not sure what that is, right? It could be an ABC, it could be a 5-wave move, and a 3-wave pullback, right? So we're just gonna have to monitor it day by day, take it day by day, and see exactly how it's wanting to play out here. So as far as the bull market support band goes, you know, that's one thing we need to stay above that I really haven't even thought about yet. But you could see it's kind of curving back to the upside. We don't want to fall below it again, right? It seems like every time, you know, that's why I said when we were up here, we want to flag out and we want to get away from it as far as possible. That way when we come down, we can test it. If we just come up here and just play around a little bit, it's just like over here, you run the risk of falling back below it again. So right now we're still in the middle of the bull market support band, where as long as we stay, let me just take that off the screen. As long as we stay above that green line, I'll just draw a trend line right here. I'll extend it out like that. As long as we stay above that, in regards to the bull market support band, it's gonna look a lot better, right? But if we wick below, it's okay, and if we come down here and we retest, that's okay as well. But we're gonna want some follow through, and the way it comes down is important. If we just shoot all the way down here, it's gonna look too bearish, right? We really need this wave to stop now. If it dumps any more, it's gonna look way too impulsive. It's gonna look like this, and we don't want that. That's not gonna be good at all. So as far as the sequential goes, we landed on a 9, but it's not really a good 9, because there's no wave structure there. You know, it's basically looks like it's in the wave 3. So that's an 8-hour chart. What's the 4-hour chart say? We haven't had a 9 yet on the 4-hour. Okay, what about the 6-hour? Oh, wow. Look at that. We're on a 9 on the 6 hour. That's interesting. And that is a nice 9. That's a perfected 9. And we also have a little bit of validation at the 9 cell here. So it definitely, you know, the 6 hour chart could be a contender here. Let's see where the RSI is. And the RSI is right on the verge of oversold. Okay, so that's a good thing. Let me remove that. So now let me zoom in and let's look at, there's the bull market support band, that lower boundary, and you can see we're starting to wick off of it. We came down, we're wicking off. This is good. This is what we want to see. We want to see support get held in here. Now, it's not confirmed yet, right? I mean, this can go up and it can roll over again. You know, it could be maybe like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then we get more divergence down here, right? So we have to be cautious in here. So anyway, but what about the altcoins? How does this affect the altcoins provided of the scenarios we just talked about? Well, first of all, that's why I was glad that XRP broke out. I was glad that XRP broke out. And wow, look at XRP. It got a monster move. Guys, that's pretty impressive right there. Look at that. Look at that. Nice. We're at 57 cents, and we just went up almost 9% in the last couple hours. That's impressive. And look at this. Look at the, okay. Let me get rid of all of this. And we're on a 9. Look at that on the 45-minute chart. Okay. Honestly, haven't seen XRP yet. Just looked at the price real quick. All right, so let's now that's a big doji candle right there. Now that could be, sometimes it could be good, sometimes it could be kind of bad. Like there's something going on with liquidity in the markets right now when you get something like that. That's a pretty massive doji candle. Let me look at like THETA for a minute. Okay, so yeah, that's way different than XRP. But the thing is like, why is THETA looking more bearish? Because THETA's been going up for since September 6th. Right? It's been going up a lot. So, you know, total 3 as well. See, total 3 to me looks like an ABC, and that could be a problem, right? What I would, you know, because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC, right? And then you have all of this, which looks like to me kind of like a 3-wave move almost. So it looks like a 3-wave move. So could this turn into a 4th and a 5th? Yes, but we want a wavy correction. We want a curvy correction. We don't want a big fall like that. Otherwise, it's going to be more likely that it turns into a more complex wave. And I'm going to jump back to XRP and THETA in a second. So if we jump up here in 3, and when we come back down in 5, then it looks like it's going to be out of proportion with wave 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, there is rules of alternation. I get it, but just gonna have to wait and see on this one. It's definitely tricky right now. What I will say is this is a major resistance area, and it was likely we got rejected there, and that's what we did, and that's what I was believing as well, right? We broke this area, basically said, look, we're gonna start, you know, flagging out, and but this is not flagging out, right? This is dropping. See the velocity of that move, the velocity of that. It's looking similar. So as this could be, maybe we're building a base. Now I go back to Wyckoff. Remember our old buddy Wyckoff. We could be still doing something like that, right? I know a few people said forget about Wyckoff, but because we've already broken, but you can't discount it, right? Too many people discount it, and that's what happens. So here's our Wyckoff example. And by the way, this was our theta example. This screenshot was taken September 25th. And basically I came out and I said, look, this could be a Wyckoff scenario where, I don't even have to draw it, but you can see, right? We have a three-way move up, come back down, come up, tag the high. That's exactly what we did, tag the high. And then what we could do is sort of round out in here, back test and breakout, round out, back test and breakout, right? So we could be still getting something like that. So this could totally be on the table, and if it is on the table, it's actually very, very bullish. Why? Because by coming back down, you're extending how big the base is, and by doing that, you're extending how more sustainable it is going higher, right? So the more time you spend down here, the more volume profile there is. The more volume profile, the more, higher the strength is of that particular base. So now I don't really like it as much on total 3 because it's a little bit different, but let me try my best here. So if we look at it from this perspective, right, and let me make that a little bit bigger. Obviously we have 3 up, came back down, but you can see it didn't take out the low, right? But it's okay. Then we came back up, right? And then if we start curving around here, we could see something like this, and then play around here and then break out, right? So that could be definitely a contender. Now the base actually is more, it's actually bigger, right? It's actually over here. And you could say that this was our Wyckoff, right? So we have like this 3-way move up, and then we come down, we take out the low. That's exactly what the example shows. 3-way move up, we came out, we took out the low in secondary test in phase B, right? And then we move our way up without taking out this high. Same thing with the example. We move our way up without taking out that high. And then we sort of swooped around, kind of made a little U shape here. And now you can see, let me put this right there. And then let me put this right here so we can see it. Right? So what we're doing now, and I don't like it a lot because of the way it came down, but you can see how it kind of plays around a little bit. Maybe that's what we're doing in here. We're playing around a little bit. Maybe a little triangle here, and then break out later on. So we could come down and back test that 575 billion area, right? But all in all, basically back testing, these highs in here. I would have liked to seen it push up a lot higher, and I would have liked to see there's problems with both assessments. We want this wave to a break in this wave to sort of back test on top of it, but it's kind of back testing in the middle. So it's kind of one of those things, well, we just gonna have to wait and see. But let's move on back to, let's go to theta first. We're at $1.31. Looks like a 5-wave move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or this could be a diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that, where you push out. Yeah, it's too early to tell, but it looks very bearish, and we're still dumping here. So I'll jump back to theta in a moment, but for XRP, you know, that's why I'm very glad we broke out, because now we have some wiggle room to work with. So we broke this zone here, right? And basically I said we could probably come all the way down and back test, and that's exactly what we did, right? We nailed it right here. Now it might not be over with, that's the thing. So there's our back test. To me, that looks like a 5-wave move, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I guess you can say a WXYXZ. We could have a triple combo correction there. Or looks like an A, B, C. And then we have another A, B, and C, a flat here for wave 3, or for that middle wave. And then, so we have 3 down, we have 3 up and a flat, and then we have 1, 2, 3 back down. So that could be a 3, that could be a W, X, Y. So there's your 3-wave move. Trying to draw the shape so we can see it. And you have this flat here in the middle for wave B. So either one of those ideas could be what's transpiring here. Now, XRP cannot escape the velocity of the downfall that the other cryptos are putting on it. So it's, you know, it's a little bit, you know, as soon as XRP starts to, you know, come out of the woods, right? That's when the other cryptos start to pull down again. So what else could it be? I mean, it could also be a reversal, because this could be a diagonal, right? It could be that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 waves down, and then this is A, B, C. And then we get another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down later on. And that becomes either, you know, maybe like an ABC, right? Let me draw that a little better. So A, B, C. Remember, we broke the liquidity on the top, but we haven't broken the liquidity on the bottom. So we could very well do that, right? So we have to be cautious. Another thing as well, when we turn on the bull market support band, right? When we were up here, I said there's a possibility if this is not, and we perfectly nailed this right here, which is what? A WXY expanded running flat. So we had 3 down, 3 up, 3 back down. This was a beautiful 3-wave move, expanded running flat. We nailed it. And then we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. We broke out. We came all the way back down, and we're back testing. So, but if this didn't work out, it could have been an expanded flat down to the bull market support band. So we still have the bull market support band sort of rising here, right? So if this turns into a more complex correction, we could later on meet up with it. And that's what I'm thinking here. We also have this little base down in here, right? And if I just kind of extend that along, that's also down here as well. around that 54 cent area. So very volatile right now. But here's the thing, guys. We got a 5-wave move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we could see an A, B, C. Back down to the bull market support band, then go up later on, right? What else could it be? Well, it could also be, right, as you guys know, the main idea has always been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 3 down, 3 up, 3 down. That's a running flat. So we have a wave 1, wave 2, and now this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the third. We're going to get a 3-way pullback and then go up into that bigger third wave. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 later on. So that's kind of the main bullish idea. The bearish idea would be that this is an ABC. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your A. And then we have this B, right? And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for C. And it's sort of a, let me flip it upside down. It's sort of a very awkward shaped ABC, but it is what it is, right? And this could even come up and hit the high again. And it could still be like an ABC. And if that's an ABC, then what is it in the grand scheme of things? Well, it'd just be another ABC, right? Because we have an A, B, C here. So if this is 3 down, and then we get 3 up, what comes next? Another 3 back down. And it becomes a much larger 3-wave correction, which would be extremely terrible. So we could see something like that. I've never shared that before, ever. So this could, that would be very bad. I'd probably just sell it then and just wait. So you can see, right, we have an A, B, C, right? And this could turn into an A, B, C, right? And then we would get another A, B, C down. So the whole thing would be that 3-wave move. It would break all of that liquidity, come down here, test the bottom of this reaccumulation phase, and then go. And that could take between now and next July. We could be going through all that, right? So it might take another year. But we're not even near that point. I'm just throwing ideas out there for everybody. Now remember, we still have this inverse head and shoulders we broke out of, right? And we haven't even met the measured move yet. I mean, we don't have to meet it, but that's about 71 cents. And we also have this inverse head and shoulder. So we have a shoulder, we have a head, and we have another shoulder, right? And conservatively, ballpark, that's getting up to 91 cents. But we really haven't broken it yet because we came back below it. So here's your downward resistance line. And you can see perfect wick, touch there, and look at that, we wicked off of it. So we back tested it. Now if you draw that extended out a little bit, let's say, try to be conservative with it. I mean, technically we still broken out here, right? Just wick to wick. But if you want to be very conservative and put it at the top of the wick, you can see perfect touches, right? Boom, boom, and boom. So we're still, still technically under the downward resistance line. It's always subjective how you put it there, but that's kind of what we got here. So we're just gonna have to see what we get tomorrow. But look, we still have an impulse, we still have a 3-way pullback, we still back tested the bull market support band. We've been going up for, this is the 4-day chart, so we have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24 days. We've been going up for the last 24 days. So a little bit of a flagging out or correction is definitely warranted. Like I've been saying, we probably need one. As far as theta goes, I mean, again, we could see a Wyckoff scenario where we come around and play around in here. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. But anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for tuning in. If you can, hit that like, subscribe, comment, and let me know what you guys think. Are you still bullish for October? Are you starting to turn bearish? What do you think about Iran? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that could happen. And I'm out here trying to do my best to see, analyzing the wave structure, understanding the risk, So there's a lot of stuff. So hopefully everything, goes out smooth, and we can figure this out. So anyway, I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers. Oh, by the way, this was my theta chart I put out yesterday, and this would actually be the Wyckoff. That's what I wanted to say. So we came up here, we're flagging out, right? And this is kind of how I'm thinking, and that's the same style that usually happens after a 7-wave move down as seen in the XRP fractal. So also still looking at this chart, still looks really good. Here's both of the charts side by side. Here's theta, right? We saw XRP did the same thing when it hit the bull market support band. It flagged out for a while, actually has several weeks, so we could see something like that. So if you want to watch that video, go check it out. I was yesterday. But anyways, I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.